This life definitely has a way of pulling the rug out from under us when we least expect it. One moment you're going about your day, and the next you discover that your 13-year-old has been smoking behind the school, or you find messages on your partner's phone that shatter your world, or you're sitting in your boss's office being told that your position has been eliminated. In these moments, when the ground seems to disappear beneath your feet, maintaining hope feels not just difficult, but almost insulting to the pain that you're experiencing. Yet there's a profound difference between toxic positivity, the insistence that we should always look on the bright side, and what I'd call grounded optimism, the ability to acknowledge the full weight of reality while still choosing to move forward with purpose and hope. So the thing is that the ground is always shifting. Pema Chodron, in her book When Things Fall Apart, teaches us something counterintuitive. Groundlessness is not the problem. Our desperate attempt to find solid ground is what creates so much of our suffering. We spend enormous energy trying to control outcomes, predict futures, and create certainty where none exists. Then when things inevitably fall apart, because they always do sooner or later, we feel devastated. We've lost not only what we've cherished, but also our illusion of control. Imagine you've just been fired. The immediate panic is understandable. There are bills to pay, everything disrupted, your identity is questioned. But beneath that panic often lies a deeper terror. If this could happen, then nothing is safe. Everything could crumble. And this is the moment when pessimism whispers its seductive lies. See, you should have known. Nothing good lasts. You'll never recover from this. But here's what pessimism won't tell you. This groundlessness you're feeling isn't you. The ground was always shifting. You were always living in uncertainty. The only thing that changed is that now you can see it clearly. So, the pivot point is what we think becomes what we feel. Between what happens to us and how we experience it lies one of the most powerful tools we possess, our thoughts. The thoughts we repeatedly think create neural pathways that shape our emotional reality. When something terrible happens, our minds will offer us hundreds of thoughts. Some will drag us down into despair. Others will help us navigate toward the next right step. Let's say you've discovered your partner has been unfaithful. The raw hurt is real and valid. But notice what happens next in your mind. One stream of thoughts might go, I'm not enough. I'll never be able to trust anyone again. My life is ruined. I'm going to be alone forever. Another stream might offer, this is devastatingly painful. I didn't deserve this betrayal. I need time to process this. I have people who love me. I will survive this. Though I can't yet see how, but I will survive this. Both thought streams acknowledge the reality of the pain. Neither denies or minimizes it, but they lead to dramatically different emotional and behavioral outcomes. The first creates a downward spiral of shame, hopelessness, paralysis. The second creates space for grief while maintaining connection to your self-worth and your resilience. So the crucial part is that you have more choice than you think. Not complete choice, not perfect control, but real significant choice. The current is strong. Your old thought patterns have deep grooves, but you can still choose which channel to swim toward. We need to try to be realistic without being pessimistic. There's a common confusion in our culture between realism and pessimism. The person who expects the worst is somehow being more rational, more adult, and more prepared. But pessimism isn't realism. It's just negative fortune telling, and fortune telling of any kind is generally inaccurate. So true realism means acknowledging what is actually happening right now, not catastrophizing about futures that may never arrive. Your 13-year-old may be doing something wrong. That's reality. Your realistic assessment is this is concerning, it's harmful and potentially addictive. This might indicate underlying stress or peer pressure. I need to address this with care and attention. Pessimistic catastrophizing sounds like she's going to get addicted, this will ruin her health, she probably doing something even worse, I failed as a parent, her life is going to spiral out of control. So the difference, the realistic view acknowledges the genuine concern while remaining anchored in what you actually know. It leaves room for effective action. The pessimistic view jumps to worst case scenarios and usually leaves you feeling helpless. So being realistic means you can say, this is hard, I'm struggling, without adding, and it will always be this hard and I will always struggle till the end of life. You can acknowledge, I don't know how this will turn out, without assuming it will definitely turn out badly. So some practical tools for when you are in the storm. When you're in crisis, these abstract concepts about optimism and thought patterns can feel impossibly distant from the chaos you're experiencing right now. You need concrete tools you can actually use when your hands are shaking and your mind is racing. These techniques, adapted from EMDR therapy, resource development, and installation processes, will help you access your own inner stability even when external circumstances are falling apart. So, my favorite, the container exercise. When overwhelming thoughts and emotions are flooding you, whether it's rage, panic about your child's choices, you need a way to create temporary relief without suppressing what you're feeling. So, find a quiet moment, close your eyes, imagine a container that's strong enough and large enough to hold all the difficult feelings and thoughts you're carrying right now. Some people imagine titanium vault, others picture a wooden chest or dip well. So make it yours. What color is it? What's it made of? Where does it live? Now imagine that it's very cozy inside and you can open and close it. And imagine taking all those overwhelming feelings, betrayal, fear, anger, uncertainty, and placing them in this container. Not forever, not even for long, just for right now. You can open it later when you have support or more capacity, but right now you're putting it somewhere safe and they like it there because it's very cozy there. They like it there. So you can get through the next hour while they are there. The next conversation, the next task, you're telling your nervous system, I see you, I acknowledge and respect you. This is real, and I'm choosing when and how to process it, rather than letting it process me. You need to access felt sense memories in your body, not just positive thoughts in your head. So take a few moments right now, even as you're listening to me. Recall a memory when you felt completely safe, calm, or peaceful. Not happy necessarily, but settled. Maybe it was sitting by a lake at sunset. Maybe it was curled up with a pet on a rainy afternoon. Maybe it was after a good meal with people you love. So don't just think about it. Actually go back there in your mind. What did you see? What colors? What was the quality of the light? What did you hear? What did you smell? What sensations were in your body? Where in your body did you feel that peace or safety? Was it in your chest, your belly, your shoulders releasing? Stay with those sensations for a moment. Breathe into them. Notice what happens in your body right now as you recall that state. You might feel your shoulders drop slightly, your jaw might unclench, your breathing might deepen. This is your resource. This capacity for calm, for safety, for peace, it's not in the past, it's in you. The memory is just the doorway to access a state that your nervous system knows how to create. You build this capacity once and it's still available to you. Build a collection of these resource memories. Write them down. Maybe have pictures that you can use. The goal is to have 5 or 6 that you can access when you're overwhelmed. When you're sitting in your car after something bad happened, shaking, you can close your eyes for 60 seconds and return the feeling of safety by the lake. It will regulate your nervous system enough that you can start thinking clearly about your next step instead of spiraling into panic. Then there's this thing called the future self resource. This is particularly powerful when you are in a situation when you genuinely don't know how things will turn out. You've discovered your child, let's say, is doing something you consider bad, and you have no idea if your intervention will help or if this is the beginning of years of struggle. So you can close your eyes and imagine yourself 3 years from now. You don't have to know the specifics of what happened with your child. You don't have to predict the outcome. Instead, imagine the you who has moved through the situation, whatever it brought. Imagine the version of yourself who has weathered this storm, who has learned what you needed to learn, who has done your best even when your best was imperfect. What does that future you look like? How do they carry themselves? What do they know now that you don't yet know? What would they want to tell you right now about getting through this? Listen for whatever arises. Often people say their future self offered surprisingly simple wisdom. You're more resilient than you think. The relationship with your child deepened because of this, not in spite of it. You survived, and that's enough. Again, this isn't about predicting a positive outcome or pretending to know the future. It's about connecting to the part of you that knows you have survived every difficult thing that come before this, and you have the capacity to survive this too. Whatever survival ends up looking like. Then there's bilateral stimulation for self-soothing. One of the most powerful tools from EMDR is also one of the simplest. When you're activated, your heart is racing, thoughts spinning, body tight. You can use bilateral stimulation to help your brain process what's happening and calm your nervous system. So the simplest form is the butterfly hug. Cross your arms over your chest and alternate tapping your shoulders gently with your hands. Left, right, left, right, left, right at a rhythm that feels soothing to you. While you're doing this, you can bring to mind one of your resource memories, or you can simply focus on your breath, or you can notice sensations in your body. And I feel like I'm calming down right now. So this alternating left-right stimulation appears to help the brain process difficult experiences more effectively. It's similar to what happens naturally during a rapid eye movement sleep, when your eyes move back and forth while your brain processes the day's experiences. When you're in crisis, your brain often gets stuck in a loop. This bilateral movement can help. You can do this sitting in your parked car before walking into your house to confront your teenager. You can do it in the bathroom at work after receiving some bad news. You can do it lying in bed when anxiety is keeping you awake. And it takes 2 minutes and requires nothing but your own hands. When everything is falling apart, you need energy for the work ahead. The difficult conversations, the decisions, just simple act of getting through each day. But crisis depletes us. This is where actively working with positive memories becomes essential. Think of a memory when you felt strong, capable, effective. Maybe you gave a presentation that went well. Maybe you helped a friend through a crisis. Maybe you completed a physical challenge. Maybe you solved a problem that everyone else thought was totally unsolvable. So go back into that memory in detail. What did you do specifically? How did you feel in your body? What qualities were you expressing? Maybe it was confidence. Maybe it was persistence. Maybe it was creativity. Maybe it was courage. Let yourself feel those qualities again right now. Notice where you feel them in your body, your chest, your core, your spine. Now bring those felt sense qualities with you into the present challenge. You're preparing to have a conversation with your partner about the infidelity, for instance. Before you walk into that room, you spend 3 minutes with the memory of your capable, strong self. You are not pretending the situations are the same. You're not denying the difficulty ahead. You're simply reminding your nervous system, basically saying, I have accessed these qualities before. These qualities are available to me now. This is different from affirmations or positive self-talk because you're not trying to convince yourself of something you don't believe. You're going to the state you genuinely experienced and you're bringing it forward as a resource for you in the present moment. Optimism when things fall apart isn't about believing everything will turn out perfectly, but you are here. You have not been destroyed, even though it might feel like you have. When something bad happened, you didn't die, though part of your world did. When you discovered your child is making dangerous choices, You didn't lose your capacity to love them or yourself, though your sense of safety might have shattered. Here's the practice to use. When your mind spins into the terrible future it's predicting, or when it obsesses over the past you cannot change, you gently, always gently bring yourself back to right now. What is actually happening in this moment? You're breathing. Your heart is beating. You are listening to me right now. Maybe you're sitting, maybe you're standing. You are here. From this moment, you can take the next smallest step. The next step might be tonight I will have a calm conversation where I mostly listen. Not like I will fix this entire problem. So let's say with the job loss, it might be today I will update my CV, not I will find a better job today. With infidelity, it might be like right now I will call a friend I trust, not I will decide the fate of my relationship now. The choice between optimism and pessimism isn't a choice about what you believe will happen. It's a choice about how you'll move through what's happening with you right now. Because pessimism offers you this cold comfort of being right when things go badly, but it steals your agency and your energy right when you need them most. It tells you that because you can imagine terrible outcomes, those outcomes are inevitable or even likely. Optimism, the grounded, realistic kind, offers you something more valuable than certainty. It offers you possibility. It says, I don't know how this will resolve, but I know I have resources. I know I have choice in how to respond. I know this moment of crisis is not the final moment of my story. You get to choose. You get to choose hundreds of times a day which voice you'll listen to. The one that says, you're destroyed, it's over, you'll never recover, or the one that says, this is incredibly hard and you're still here, you're still capable of taking the next breath and the next one step. Neither voice can guarantee you any outcome because life is uncertain and sometimes things turn out badly despite our best efforts. But the pessimistic voice guarantees you'll suffer more on the journey, paralyzing yourself with fear and missing possibilities that might actually exist. The optimistic voice allows you to remain open, to adapt, to notice help when it arrives, and to access your own wisdom and strength. The truth Pema Chodron teaches is that things will keep falling apart. This won't be the last time. And that's not pessimism, that's reality. Groundlessness is the fundamental nature of existence. Everything changes, nothing is permanent. The question is not how to find ground that never shifts. The question is how to learn to surf. You learn by practicing in the small moments. So the skill is there in the big ones. You practice choosing resourceful thoughts when you're stuck in traffic so that capacity is stronger when you are facing difficult situation. You practice the container exercise when you're mildly stressed, so you know how to use it when you are truly overwhelmed. You practice calling up resourceful states from memory when stakes are low, so you can access them when stakes are high. And you practice radical self-compassion. When you find yourself catastrophizing, when you follow the pessimistic thought for an hour or a day, when you forget every tool and just collapse into despair, you don't beat yourself up for it. You notice it. You name it. Okay, I am catastrophizing. I'm in a pessimistic spiral. And then, when you're ready, you make a different choice. Not because you were wrong to feel despair, but because you deserve something better than to drown in that despair. All the difficult situations you're dealing with right now, these are real crises that deserve real acknowledgement. But they're also chapters in a larger story that's still being written. You don't know yet what this chapter means for the whole arc. Sometimes the things that fall apart needed to fall apart so something better could emerge. Sometimes the worst thing that happens becomes the catalyst for the best change you never would have chosen, but you desperately needed. And sometimes terrible things are just terrible, and the gift is simply that you survived them and became a person who knows they can survive terrible things. You don't have to decide which category this crisis falls into. You just have to move through it with as much presence, self-compassion, and grounded hope as you can muster. You do that by choosing moment to moment which thoughts you'll feed, by using the tools that regulate your nervous system and connect you to your resources, by staying present to this breath, this step, this choice. Everything has fallen apart before. You've fallen apart before, and somehow you're still here. That's not nothing. That's actually everything. It's the evidence that you carry within you what you need to weather this storm too. Not perfectly, not without pain, but genuinely, truly, one breath, one choice, one moment at a time. The ground is shifting. It always has been. The invitation now is to stop fighting the groundlessness and start learning to dance with it. To find not solid ground, but dynamic balance. Not certainty about outcomes, but confidence in your capacity to meet whatever comes. That's realistic optimism. And it might just change everything. Take care.